All right, thanks, Jordan. All right, we got to talk big sports day. If you are setting your fantasy lineups for hockey or basketball, do them now because the first game for ball starts at noon. First hockey games start at 1. Ben Ennis from The Good Show on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, of course, joining us right now. My dude, we got to talk about the Raptors first. And this is a 5-game win streak currently. Are these Raptors for real, dude?
I think the biggest reason you would say yes is because they knocked off the Philadelphia 76ers earlier this week. That was the team, of course, they went 7 games against in the second round of the NBA playoffs last year. Kawhi Leonard hit what was one of the most epic shots in the history of the NBA. And, of course, the Raptors lost Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
So you figured that seems like a pretty significant subtraction from this Raptors team. Not only did they hang with that Sixers team that is expected to at least be one of the top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference, they beat them, and they held an MVP candidate in Joel Embiid to 0 points in that basketball game. That's not supposed to happen. They did that, though. It's been an incredible ride, and I think fans are pleasantly surprised by what this team has done because, man, you don't lose an MVP like Kawhi Leonard and then stay at the top of the Eastern Conference and have real title aspirations like I think the Raptors have this year.
And that's it. We talk about people like Pascal going from MIP, Most Improved Player, to MVP potentially, which kind of is right now. But Freddie VanVleet has been playing out of his mind with the injury to Kyle Lowry. Can he sustain this kind of play? Because the minutes are very high. He's playing almost 40 minutes a game.
Yeah, I mean, they've come down a little bit because they have an undrafted free agent in Terrence Davis who's kind of emerged on the scene. But you're right. This was not the role we expected for Fred VanVleet coming into this season. He, of course, emerged in the second half of their playoff run last year and actually got an NBA Finals MVP vote. He was that good down the stretch. I don't know, man. This seems sustainable. It seems like what he's doing is something that he can continue throughout the rest of his career, and it's good timing for him as well. He's a pending free agent at the end of the year, so his motto is bet on myself, and yeah, that bet is coming up large for him. He's going to have some big stacks at the end of this year, I would say.
That's it. Freddie VV going to get paid, and if he's not an all-star, I'm going to be very disappointed in the league for that. So make sure you vote him in, fans, when it's that time. Let's slide over to the Leafs right now. With a 3-game win streak, they are undefeated under new coach Sheldon Keefe, of course. Can they maintain this style of play that's happened, or is this just that initial bump?
So that's a great question, and there's people on both sides of the argument. First game of this 3-game winning streak was a really complete game, start to finish. That looked like something you could build off of. The 2 games since then, one, they kind of held on for dear life against Colorado, and then on Wednesday, they played the worst team in hockey in the Detroit Red Wings with a backup goalie who had the flu, and they won 6-0, so you can't fault the team for winning a game like that. But I think we need a little bit more of a sample size to really make an assessment on that Leafs team. But so far, so good. The team at least looks like they're having a lot more fun under Sheldon Keefe than they did under Mike Babcock. And that's got to be worth something. I don't know if it's worth the rest of the season. I don't know if you can feed off that emotion the entire season. But right now, it's hard to argue against what this team is doing.
And what are you initially seeing player-wise? Like, who's really stepping up and kind of being a little more comfortable, kind of coming into their own?
Well, Tyson Barrie has to be the guy. This is a guy that they traded for in the offseason. They gave away a fan favorite in Nazem Kadri to go get from the Colorado Avalanche. He scored 14 goals. He's a defenseman. He's supposed to be a high-scoring guy. You know how many goals he had under Mike Babcock? That would be 0. He had none. And what has he done since Sheldon Keefe has taken over? He scored in every single game. 3 goals in 3 games.
Yeah.
So that guy has a complete new lease on life. And this is what they expected when they went out and grabbed him in the offseason.
That's it. Ben, thank you so much. Of course, we got the Leafs playing at 4 o'clock today in Buffalo, back at home tomorrow night, 7 o'clock game against that same squad. Your Raptors in action tonight at 7 against Orlando, back at home on Sunday against the Utah Jazz, which will be a big test. Ben Ennis from Sportsnet Central as well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Have a great weekend, dude.
Yeah, you too, Devo.
All right, man.